Welcome back to another episode of Ringfreaks and rebuilding the E36. Plan for today is very simple. Simply finish this project. And we will start by inserting the engine back here. I just need to be really careful because the paint is still very fresh and nice and I don't want to scratch the engine bay. So hopefully I won't scratch it too much. The fuse box and the brake system came back to the car. They were just removed just because we were repainting whole engine bay. Also the front suspension, the front subframe and arms and everything is back to the car. We have installed the new tie rods, tie rod ends, also main arms are new on both sides, new bearings, revised all the coilovers and everything, and they seem to be straight. We are using Goodrich braided brake lines. And they have a flaw because in this place we are like 14mm and they can go through the mounting in the chassis. So the problem is when you connect the metal line with the braided line, it does not fix into the chassis. And once you're steering the steering wheel, the line can move up and down. So it's really dangerous because it can snap the metal line quite soon. So what we do is simply we install this small shim under here in the exact diameter of like 14.2mm, I think. And then the line is in one place fixed and it doesn't move in the connection. Engine is finally in the car. That's a really fast job. So it's on the engine mounts, gearbox mounts, everything is good. But of course, I scratched the fresh paint. Oh, it's just me. Good, let's keep going. So what I want to do is to finish this car to see that the engine and everything is good. And once I'm sure that it's driving, then to start booking some track days to drive this year. So the faster I finish this, the faster I can book the track days and to be sure that I have some entries. So you also, if you want to drive this year, don't wait too much and book the cars, also track days. Now it's left to assemble around the engine what's left, connect all the water hoses, put the radiator, also connect the electricity and try to start this car. Hopefully it starts because the engine was standing for 2 years, car was standing for 2 years. Something might go wrong, but I'm nearly sure everything should be fine. I want to hear the engine first before I put the coolant inside the car. So let's connect the battery and let's try to start it. 2 years of standing, we'll see what it gives us. Okay, full fuel tank, all the lights on. We have a sound. It tries to start but doesn't start. Let's try more. Can you try to give some gas maybe? Sounds a bit rough, but 2 years of standing feels like that. I have also not connected the air mass sensor, so maybe that's why it doesn't want to work. But the engine sounds good, so I can continue with assembly. That's good news. Well, it works somehow, sounds quite good. It will be fine. And now I just want to install the cooling hoses, the water radiator, also air mass sensor, connect all the vacuums, so it then should start to keep the idle pretty well. And then I hope that I can hear the engine running good. And now it's time to pour some water in. And at Ringfreaks we do not use any coolant in our cooling systems in any of the cars. Uh-oh. Okay, there is a problem. I forgot to plug the plug in the engine block. Now it's leaking. Let's fix it. So at Ringfreaks we use only water in the system. And first reason is of course safety. So in case you have a burst pipe in the track, the water evaporates like really quickly and it's not slippery for other guys. And second reason, as you've seen, now I made a big puddle in the workshop because I forgot to put that bolt in. So when we have just water, you clean it, it dries out and it's nice. When you have coolant, it's always slippery, it's always sticky, it leaves stains. So that's really horrible to work with. Okay, so it's the take 2 to start the E36. Battery on, ignition on. Lights are on. Okay, it works. Now it is with water, so we can leave it running for a longer. Yeah, so this time it looks like it's working much better. No leaks at all. It's not leaking, it's getting warmer. Yeah, now it also sounds a little bit better. So after 2 years standing, the hydraulic lifters needs to fill up with oil. Also the rings and everything needs to be in the working position, because when the engine is standing for such a long time, it simply gets a little bit stuck, let's say. But it seems it's getting back alive. So yeah, it seems that it will work fine. Okay, we got one small leak from the hose. Maybe I just need to tighten it up or check. Maybe there is some rock or anything under the rubber. But that's the minor issue. But the engine works, kinda. So it's time to assemble it fully. The full front of the car is fully assembled, and it was quite difficult to get the body panels to fit more correctly because all the front end parts are not original ones. But in the end, it makes this project a little bit cheaper using the non-original parts and also faster to get them delivered. Engine is also already running fully fine. There is no more water leaks or anything. So the car is already drivable. And we are just a few steps away from completely finishing this rebuild project. And now, because we have the battery in the car, we have the almost full fuel tank, we have the engine and front end parts in the car, it means all the heavy parts are already on the car. It means we can already do the setup for the track. So what is car balancing? So let's take this chair as an example. So this is now our E36. The legs are 4 wheels. This is the back of the car. This is the front of the car. So now the seat is planted on the ground and it doesn't move. It means it's balanced. It takes the weight of the chair on all 4 wheels equally. But if, for example, we put just €2 monet under one leg, so let's think that we just extended the coilover a little bit on the left front, the seat became very unbalanced. Now it's just balancing on front left and rear right leg, and the other legs are just balancing between and not really taking any weight. So the idea of balancing is same on the car. So we want our car planted on all 4 wheels equally. There are 2 theories while you're balancing the car. One is cross weight, so that the cross weight would be equal. So it means the front left and rear right wheel sum of these wheels would be equal to the sum of rear left and front right wheel weight. This would make the car really predictable driving on both sides. However, because while balancing the car, you cannot really shift the weight of the car from the left to the right or from the back to the front, only between the cross weights you can shift the weight. It sometimes can happen if you have like most of the stuff of the car on the left side, like the driver, battery, engine is more on the left side. It can be, for example, left of the car is much heavier than the right side. And while doing the 50% cross, you will become with very heavy front left wheel and very light front right wheel, just to match the numbers of the cross weight. So the second theory is to match the front wheel weights approximately, and the rears are not so important. So it would be much more stable while you're braking the car because the both front wheels will have the equal weight. So we always try at Ringfreaks to make somewhere between these 2 theories to make it right. So it's same with the car, like with the chair, we will try to make the car load all 4 wheels more or less equally. So it would be not like this chair with the monet, and it wouldn't do this in the track. first of all, I had to adjust all the dampers evenly. So this side, all the measurements from the bottom to the first nut to the second nut from the top, it needs to be now equal to another side. So here is the same now, and to do in the back with the both sides as well. So I want to tell you a few things about the coilovers first. So if you have coilovers which are just adjustable with the nuts under the spring, like these ones, it means they are not height adjustable. They are only, these nuts are for travel of the coilover to adjust and also to balance the car, but not height adjustable. I will explain you why. So the idea is with these, not to have the spring, let's say, too tensioned. So let's say that the spring would be in such tension that when you lower the car on the ground, the wheel could travel, let's say, 4 centimeters up. And also when you lift the car, it could travel like the wheel could travel 4 or 5 centimeters down. And if you're adjusting height from here, for example, you go totally down, the spring will be loose. And what will happen that the coilover will be, when the car is lowered, it will always be on the minimal length. So the wheel will be really deep in the arch, the car will be very low, but that's not a problem. The problem will be that the wheel could not travel more up because it's already at the minimum length. That's the problem. So when you're jumping, the wheel will fall out like 10 centimeters down, but when you have a bump, it's already on the minimum limit. The same counts if you want to rise the car from here a lot. The coilover will be always at the maximum length, so the wheel will stay very low compared. When you lower the car on the ground, it will still be low, so it will have like 10 centimeters of travel up if you have a bump, but if you're jumping, it will be in the air very quickly. That's not safe, and that's not fast, and also it doesn't drive like that good. That's why the better coilovers have bottom mount which is adjustable, so you can adjust the height from here, so you're not interfering with the travel of the damper, but you're simply rising the car. So that's important to know. And some coilovers which has just one nut under the spring, they are good as well, just the manufacturer set up the car height already. So they are not height adjustable, they are preset for height, and from here you can just adjust travel a little bit, and also you can balance the car. Also, before putting it on the scales in the front, you see the front sway bar is still not installed, so we don't want to interfere it with numbers on the scales. And the rear one, the rear sway bar is also disconnected, so it also does not interfere. Because we want at the moment to see how much each wheel really weighs without any additional things, just with the driver. And the last thing before putting on the scales is that I have preset the tire pressure on all wheels. So I set now 2 bars in every wheel, because this is the pressure where I will be driving these tires hot. So maybe I will be starting at 1.6 bar, but my aim is to have them at 2 bars once they're hot. That's why I do now 2 bars on cold, just for measurements to be right. Car is ready to go on the scales, and with these black pads we make it in level the ground, because any floor is still not level enough to do the balancing, so you need such or similar pads to simply level the floors. The scales are connected by wires, so the pro tip, if you ever buy scales, buy it with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or anything, just not with cables. Cables break and you need to be careful not to step over them. it's really not comfortable and it's much slower, and in the end it's not so much cheaper. Okay, so all the weights are on 0, so we don't need to zero it off. And let's lower it on the scales and let's see. So without the driver, 1188 kilos with full fuel tank. I think it's quite light, I would say. And now let's see how much the wheel weighs. So here we can see each wheel weight. So the front left is 305, front 290, front right 292, rear 304, 287. Not so bad. The cross is almost 49. But car doesn't drive without a driver. So the car is empty. Most of the time car will be driven with only one person in the car, so the driver. And for this we need a ballast. And for this we use the Bio robots. Good, so we have a driver inside, and let's see what we got here. So the front left wheel is 332 and 300 front. So I'm not really satisfied. 30 kilos is a big difference, and the rears are equal. And the cross weight is 49. So what we will do here, so our goal is to have the cross more or less 50 and the front wheel balance almost more or less equal. That's, in this case, it's really perfect. So what we will do, we will decrease the spring nut on this wheel, we will increase the spring nut on this wheel, and it should be, I believe, nearly perfect very soon. So let's quickly do that. So Alan can stay in the car. I will just quickly adjust the springs. Okay, so this wheel was too heavy, so the driver front. So I need to decrease this, and I will do this just 1.5 spin down. Passenger side, I will increase also similar amount. Okay, so just with the driver, the cross weight is really nice, 50%, but the front driver side is still a bit too heavy, so it's 325, and the passenger side front wheel is 308. So it is 17 kilos difference between the front wheels. It might be felt on the braking a little bit because the front right wheel will lock it a little bit earlier than the left wheel, but it's only with the driver. So let's invite Sierras to help to be as a passenger, and then let's see what kind of weights we have. And if with the passenger the weights are good, then I won't do anything more here, because it will be between cross balance and front wheel difference of weight, and also for one driver or also with the passenger weight will be correct. So guys are enjoying the E36 already, like imagining all the fast laps. Good, let's check with 2 people in the car, and it's perfect. Yeah, so the front wheels are equal, so just few kilos difference, and now the rear right is more heavy than the rear left, but the cross is still nearly 50%. So with 2 people in the car, the weight balance is perfect. With only driver, it's still good. So with the balancing now, I just need to tighten the front shocks nuts so it would be fit the sway bars, and then move on with alignment. And just before moving forward with the alignment, I wanted to show you a few things. E36 Coupe is such a perfect car, because look, the left side of the car is almost equal to the right side of the car, and the rear of the car is almost equal to the front of the car. And what I need to tell you, while you're doing the balancing from the coilovers, from these nuts under the springs, you cannot shift the weight from the left side to the right side or from the front to the back. So you can only shift the weight from the left to the right by moving the physical stuff. the alignment machine is already on the car, and let's see what kind of numbers we got. First of all, on the top we see the front toe, so it's very much off the scale because I just installed the tie rods as we are, and so it's really too much into the car, so we are both looking inwards. Then the very good part, which I already see, the front camber, I have set it on the maximum, and it's almost equally same. So it's like really small difference. I will just show you what I mean. So that both camber plates are set on the maximum camber inside. So I would have the maximum camber, and the parameter is almost same. What does it mean? It means that the both top mounts are in very similar position. It means my straightening work is already working quite well, but we will see in the end after we do the alignment if it was really good when we remeasured the caster. But so far the caster with the very wrong toe is also very similar, so 6 degrees and 37 minutes on one side, and on passenger side is 6 degrees 53. And BMW allows for the caster to be different up to half degree, so up to 30 minutes difference between the sides. So we already fit, but the toe is very different. So I think when we do the toe correctly, when we remeasure the caster, and hopefully it will be very similar side to the side, it means the car will be handling just perfectly. The back wheels also look quite good, so we have more than 2 degrees of camber in both sides. And so far the toe is different because I just broke loose the bolts, and now let's start adjusting. So alignment is always done starting from the back. So you need to align the rear wheels first, so the rear axle needs to be perfectly aligned, and just when you align the front. We got the rear numbers right, so we got both wheels toe in 10 minutes each in, and nearly 3 degrees of camber. So I'm satisfied with the camber. I would maybe like a bit more toe in the back, but the problem in E36, when you're adjusting the camber and when you're adjusting the alignment, both these numbers move. So it's kind of difficult to get them both right. So with 10 minutes each wheel toe in the rear, the car will maybe want to oversteer a little bit more. Maybe I would like to have a bit more toe in, but for me oversteer is not a big problem, so it will be driving just fine. Now let's go with the front. So the goal is to do here minus 0 degrees and 0.6 minutes. Here is the same, and the camber I believe will be just as it is. So front looks really good. The camber is on both sides actually very similar with the camber plates on the same position. So that means the chassis is good. The alignment is done nicely. Now let's just redo the caster, because now the alignment is done. And once we know the caster, if the caster is also same, it means the chassis is perfectly straight. And these are the last numbers for the E36. So we have the perfect toe out in the front. We have very similar, actually same camber in the front with the camber plates on the same setting. The caster has just like 15-minute difference between the sides, and the rear is also perfect. So like I told you before, BMW allows for the caster difference up to half of the minute. In this car, the caster is not adjustable. So I can tell you that this chassis is very perfectly straight. So I'm really satisfied with the result. I know that this car can handle really good now. I can sleep much better, that all the straightening work on the jig was worth a while. And now the project is actually very close to the end. Now the first step, I will have to wrap all the front in the Ringfreaks design, so it will be the yellow front. I will need to assemble a few small bits in the front of the car. Then to clean the interior, install the 6-point belts here, clean everything here, and when the car will be done and the project will be done. So that's it for this episode, and for the next episode I already can promise you some action from the track driving this car. See you soon.